All right, so if you're ready to get punched in the mouth today with just awesome content, this is your show. We got Whalen coming at you, just really just bringing it to you, showing you what you can do and how you're going to do it to really just make the life that you deserve, getting back to just the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be the person. Whalen is a father, entrepreneur, public speaker, podcaster, business coach, founder of Lions Not Sheep. He's got viral social media posts that have gone out to over 600 million times, speaks at visiting and marketing events with people just like Gary Vee, and he just really just gives you the truth. He talks about his success, his divorce, his massive failure, his contemplation of suicide, and just telling the truth both personally and in business that is really just the critical pinnacle moment that saved his life and gave him the opportunity to be a globally recognized brand. So really strap on your seatbelt, man. This gets really intense. This is got some, we'll say, language to it. So if you got kids in the car, this isn't a show or the time to listen right now. But check this out. Let's do this. So Sean, thanks so much for being on the show. How are you?
Thanks for having me, man. I am fantastic.
Good, as you should be. And so with that word right there, fantastic, why are so many people suffering right now and choosing to focus on the suffering instead of focusing on what's the good?
Oh boy, that's a deep question. A lot of people are focused on fear because that's what we've been programmed to focus on. We've been programmed since we were little kids, what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong. We've been programmed to be sheep, to follow what other people are saying and doing. And I feel like a lot of people right now have failed to spend time working on themselves, grounding themselves, figuring out who the hell they are, what they believe. And so it's naturally very easy when you see the masses running off in a direction of fear to just follow them and to believe anything and everything that's being peddled our way. And so it's an interesting time indeed. It's an interesting time indeed.
What's going to be the learning lessons you could take away from this? What you yourself says for this time right now, being put in a place where it wasn't ideal, it wasn't predetermined. What are you learning from what's happening right now?
For me as an individual, I mean, one of my favorite scriptures, one of my favorite quotes, it's kind of a scripture end quote. If you're prepared, you shall not fear. And so, you know, I'm not in panic mode. This is just another day for me. It's another day for me to just continue to live my life and have my daily rituals and strengthen my body and strengthen my mind and my relationships and everything else. So it's a fascinating thing to see how something like this can turn people's lives so upside down so fast. And so for me, it's not necessarily a lesson that I'm learning. It's a reminder that I'm on the right path. It's a reminder that me investing in me is the single best investment that I can make. Me investing in my mind, in my business, in my relationships, is the single best investment that I can make. So I've continued to kind of share the same message with people, the same thing that I've been sharing for the last couple of years through Lions Not Sheep and through my social media, which is, you know, if you're prepared, you shall not fear. A lot of people ran out because they thought there was going to be a shortage on food. Well, if you were prepared prior to this, you don't worry about those things. You're not running out to buy ammunition and this and that and the other thing because you're already prepared. So for me, it's not necessarily I'm learning this grandiose thing. I mean, I am seeing some really interesting things, which is a majority of people are not prepared. A majority of people are living in fear, are living in panic, and are very easily distracted. But for me, it's a reminder that the journey that I'm on, the path that I'm on, the things that I'm doing are exactly what it is that I should be doing.
So someone's listening to this and they hear that and they're not prepared. They're stuck here and they're at what direction, where do they go from here? If they have to now turn it around, it's now forced their hand, but they have to make a choice. What can they do?
Well, I mean, real talk, look, you're in control of your own life. Okay. I mean, every single person listening to this is in complete control. No one owes you jack shit. The government doesn't owe you anything. Your neighbor doesn't owe you anything. Mom or dad, your business, you bought. I mean, it's just not how it works. I think what people should get from this is the hope is that they wake up. You know, I mean, there comes a point in time in everybody's life, whether it's a darkness, whether it's somebody dying, whether it's a catastrophic experience of life, whether they go bankrupt, they lose millions of dollars, or something typically wakes people up in life. And it's normally a dramatic experience. Hopefully this is a dramatic enough experience where your finances were put into question. Your emotional, psychological, spiritual stability was put into question. You realized how ill prepared you were. What my suggestion for people is to identify what it is that the weaknesses are in your game, if you will, of life, whether it's I'm not connected to God. I really don't know. I'm questioning a lot of things. I don't have a pot to piss in. I don't have any money. I don't have any savings. I'm shitty with money. Whatever the big warning flag is that came to people, and correct it. You know what I mean? Every day is a new day. Every day is a new chapter. This isn't some hippy dippy bullshit. Hey, today's your day. Like it's really that way. Like there's nothing today that's making you be friends with the same assholes that you were friends with yesterday. There's literally nothing. There's nothing making you do illogical things that you were doing before. There's nothing making you be fat and miserable and broke, right? And so the conversation that I'm constantly having with people is like, what are you going to do right now? Like the second you get off this podcast, and you might be watching this now, you might be watching this in 6 months, but literally, what are you going to do immediately after this? That's really the defining moment between people that are prepared, the people that do take control of their life, and the people that are waiting for somebody to come save them. Is I talk about in my book, if you have drama with somebody, relationship drama, right? That's 100% on you. There's no one making you feel the way that you feel. You're feeling that way. So literally I talk about in my book, like at the end of each chapter, I say, do this now. Literally put the book down, send a text message to this person, squash the beef from your end. Well, most people go, we need to talk about this first, or we need to pray about this first, or we need to have some sort of bigger. No, dude, put the fucking book down and send the text. Period. End of story. Like there is no negotiation to that. And I think that's the thing that's helped me in my life the most, is realizing like I can put anything off. Like the workout, right? We see this happen all the time. Every December, everybody gets all jacked up for the new year. I'm going to get in shape. And then something comes up or this, and then it's not convenient. And then you fall completely off the track. Like literally, what can you do now? Like literally get off this fucking podcast. If you don't have a financial education, get it. Find people that can teach you this shit. Get a coach, join a group, have a mentor, right? Like do it now. But what most people do, when the timing is right, and this is the reason most people are in the situation that they're in today, is because that's been our pattern. That's how we live. When it gets convenient, when I have more time, when I have more money, then I'll hire a coach. Newsflash. You said that 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, 24 months ago. When's the fucking perfect time? It's never going to come. So you got to get really fucking uncomfortable and do it right now if you want results in 6 months. If you're radically out of shape today, it's not because you ate a cheeseburger last night. It's because you've been doing dumb shit, eating dumb shit, and not working out for the last year. So what I tell people is like, if you want the next year to be different, you have to start right now. Not in 6 months, not when it's convenient, not when you have more money, not when there's more time, because there's never going to be more time. You have to make a choice right here, right now. What the fuck am I going to do different in the next 5 minutes, not 5 years?
Yeah, we spend so much time calculating the worst case scenario that just never, ever happens. And you build up this whole talk track to yourself that, oh, well, if I try this, this could happen or that could happen or the next thing can happen. But you never really, and you can't quantify what the win could be, right? Because maybe you haven't had that win yet. So what you'll say is, well, if I spend this $5,000 on mentorship, I might just lose $5,000. Not that the mentor could take me to the next place and help me make $1 million. But that 5,000, I can feel that $5,000. So I'm going to put the focus on that and I'll just hold off. Where is the bridge gap? Why can't America get out of their own way? Why are we living paycheck to paycheck? What is it that's going to create the narrative? Because I keep hearing this term, like the new norm, like we're stuck in a prison right now. Like we're literally home for 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, whatever that comes down to. It's less than 1% of your entire lifetime if you live to 80. Right. So where is the narrative talk track that people just need to get on? Where is it that's going to transform us from just a society that's constantly in reaction to action? Well,
you got to make a choice, man. I mean, this is a deep. It's not deep, but it's just different. Like most people are not talking about this, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something that I have found in my own personal life, which has helped me go from being a self-made multimillionaire in my early 20s to bankrupt and divorced and depressed and suicidal at 31 years old to now building multiple global businesses again and living, a really fantastic life. We've been programmed to lie since we were little kids, like all of us. I don't care how old, rich, poor, gay, straight, black, white, Republican, Democrat. We've all been programmed the exact same way, whether you're religious, not religious. And ever since we were little kids, it was sit down, quiet down, do as you're told. I mean, just think back to elementary school. You had to raise your hand if you had to go take a piss, right?
Yeah.
don't say anything that's going to offend anybody else. And so we've been raised since we were little children to lie, to play small, to well, mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, nobody was really rich in the family. So you're just not, and if you go off on your own and you start making money, well, hey, you're kind of a dick now. And why are you doing that? And we've been programmed to play small. We've been programmed to lie. We've been programmed to follow the masses. If you say anything that offends anybody else, you're a dick. Well, if that's what I believe and that's what I feel, then what makes me a dick? It's because you don't feel that way or your family doesn't feel that way. Why does that make me a dick? And this transcends everything from being in shape to your finances to relationships. And so I think the quote unquote new norm, it's not a new norm. It's the same thing I've been talking about for years, which is answering a simple question. What's really fascinating though, is I've found as I've talked to thousands of people literally across the world, I've spoken on stages with the biggest speakers in the world. And I asked people this question. I've asked millionaires, billionaires, literally. I've asked a lady a couple months ago, who's a multi-billionaire, this question. And it's one of the most difficult questions for human beings to answer, yet it's one of the most simple. And the question is simply this: what do you want? What do you want? Now, most people say, well, I want freedom. I want more money. I want blah, blah, blah. I want to be happy. Those all of the bullshit, superficial answers that make everybody else see, oh, that's great, Johnny. You want to be happy. Great. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. But what does that really mean? Mm-hmm. Like, what does it really fucking mean, right? I want more money. What are you talking about more money? Why? Why don't you have that now? And if you start peeling back layers, this is where most people are playing on a very superficial level because that's exactly how we've been programmed. And so I think the conversation, when you talk about the new norm, a lot of people are fucking scared right now. And they're scared because they haven't actually stepped out of like this programming that we've been given since we were little kids and reprogrammed and asked any bigger questions or said, you know what? I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. There are millions of people that were broke that are now wealthy. There are millions of people that were living paycheck to paycheck, working shitty 9-to-5 jobs that actually aren't living paycheck to paycheck now. So the reality is it's not impossible because somebody's done it. Millions of people have done it. So the real question is, what do you want? And this is what I have found as a coach and through my company, Lions Not Sheep, is probably one of the most difficult questions for people to answer, number one. But number two, most people don't have people around them to actually like push them into giving an honest answer there. So when you say that to your friends, like, what do you want? Well, I want to be happy. Yeah, man, me too, man. Awesome. High five. All right, let's go play golf. Yeah. No one stops and says, well, what does that really mean? What does that mean, happy? Right? I just told a joke and you laughed. You're happy, right? Well, no, I'm not happy because you start peeling back layers and you realize that it might be because of this or it might be because of that, right? And this is something that I'm like ruthlessly passionate about, is helping people answer this question. What do you want? Because most people lie. If I say to you, are you a liar? If I say this to people, no, I'm not lying. Well, then I say to you, well, do you tell everybody the truth? Do you tell people the shit that burns inside of you, that you think, that you believe inside? Well, no, I don't. Well, then what do you tell them? You tell them bullshit, which makes you fucking a liar. It's really that simple. It's that consciousness that most people are terrified of. It's consciousness of them saying, I'm sick of my fucking job, or I hate my spouse. I can't stand this person. I can't stand how I look. And so what do? We play small and we give these superficial answers instead of stepping back and saying, this is what I really want, right? No one wants to be broke. So what do? If we're broke, we create a victim story. Well, I caught a bad break, or my dad or my mom, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, what people are not willing to say is like, I'm lazy and I don't know how to not be lazy. I don't know how to learn. What do I do, right? And so I think when you talk about the new norm, the new narrative, like people keep talking about, I want to go back to the way it was. I don't want to go back to anything. I'm constantly moving forward. I want to learn more. I want to be more. I want to achieve more. And so what I see, and this is not because of this fucking pandemic bullshit, whatever, I see this every day, is people literally are just stuck in their box. We've been programmed to live in this box, and we get inside this box and we hate it. And this is where I was. I was programmed to be inside of this box. This is what dads do. This is what husbands do. And I had made all of this money and built these companies and had what by the world standards was a lot of success. And at the end of the day, I wasn't doing any of the things that I wanted to do. I didn't know why I was doing any of this shit. I just did it because this is what I was told to do. And I found myself at 31 years old going, what the fuck am I doing? I hate my life. I hate who I am. I'm disconnected from human beings. I don't tell the truth because if I say something, everybody's going to judge me and whatever. So it's like, it took me burning my world to the ground and stepping back and saying, you know what? Like, God put me here for a reason. And it's not to follow the masses. It's to do what burns inside of me. It's to say the things that come into my heart and into my mind and might piss people off. But you know what? If the things that I'm doing are making me feel better, why am I not doing them more? Why am I not doing more of the things that make me feel better, right? And so this is kind of that new norm, that new conversation that I think people are going to be having, which is like, okay, I am broke. I am not prepared. Here's where I need to be, and really getting honest with themselves and then figuring out how to do that, how to build the life that they want to have so that they're not afraid. They're not living in panic. They're not living in fear. They're not living in reaction mode. They're actually able to build shit that they want to build.
Yeah, and you have this moment in life, right? You can either say two things. Either you can or you can't. There's just no in between, right? And wherever you're going to tell yourself. So that moment, you're back 2008, 12, 13 years ago. We're at that fact, that low point in your life was, do you feel that was the pinnacle moment that led you to where you are today? Without that moment, because I think this will go for a lot of people who are maybe in a dark place, just knowing that you find your biggest growth from it. Would you find your biggest growth from that moment?
Totally agree. I mean, if most people are honest, if you're honest with yourself, you think about like the lessons that have taught you the most typically came during the darkest periods of time. But what we do is we run from darkness. We run from these things that we're not comfortable with. We run from, anything that makes us uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. It's not comfortable to go to the gym and have a trainer kick the shit out of you, but it's not comfortable being a fat piece of crap either. A lot of people judge me for that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like if you want to get results, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. You're going to have to create some vulnerability and say, you know what? I don't know how to manage money. I don't know how to make money. I don't know how to build a business. But instead we just kind of put on that alpha, especially for guys and, oh dude, I'm good, whatever. And that's what I did. When people ask me, how are you? I just lied. I'm like, I'm good. But inside I wasn't telling people the truth, which is, dude, I'm not happy. Right. And so understanding that's the only way you're going to build anything new is becoming uncomfortable and being honest about it. That's, I think, the gap, the differentiating factor is that people haven't gotten uncomfortable enough to actually create real change. It's one of my favorite quotes. When the pain of the current situation becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when people jump, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in pain, but we're not in enough pain to create change. And I think what we're seeing now is a lot of people have been exposed like, holy shit, I actually am in a lot of pain. I'm scared. Maybe this is the tipping point when you start to change. Who knows?
So where do we go from here? Like, let's say restaurants, right? There's a lot of these restaurants, small business restaurants, just never coming back, right? Don't have cash flow past 2 weeks, just aren't going to make it. What is that going to do with so many small businesses that are ultimately going to sink for a lot of different reasons? What is that going to do to the overall landscape of the business world?
I don't have a crystal ball. I've been asked a lot over the last couple of weeks of what's going to happen. Where are we going to go? Is the real estate market going up? Is it going down? I know as a small business owner, I own multiple businesses and I have continued to share with people over and over and over again about being prepared and ensuring that you have, for me personally, I want to have a year's worth of cash in the bank that if I did not make another dime, I could live. And I have that. And so I look at it now and say, well, my revenue is not cut off. My business is actually growing through this because I own a coaching and consulting company and a couple other companies. And now that a lot of people are freaking the fuck out, they're looking at it going, well, shit, maybe the stuff Sean's been talking about for the last 2 years, it's true. Maybe I should jump into his programs and learn more of these things. And so my business is actually growing. But, I feel bad for a lot of people. I mean, I don't want to turn this conversation political because we could be here all day. But at the end of the day, I don't see what's happening in the marketplace and in our country justifying. It's not justified based off of what's currently going on. And again, I'm not trying to downplay anybody that's sick. I'm not trying to downplay any of that, but shutting an entire country down over something like this is absolutely ludicrous. But that again shows where people really are, because at the end of the day, like we, the people, we're in control of our life, and we're literally going bankrupt because we're following what it is that our leaders are telling us. But the real truth is anybody stepping back and asking deeper questions of, I don't know when people are watching this, but the $2.2 trillion that that's supposed to go to the American people, to go to men, to go to women, to go to children, to go to businesses, literally less than 10% of that is allocated for that. I mean, just read through the numbers, right? But when you stop and think about that, the government, the people that are telling us what to do, when to open, when to close, when to jump, when to laugh, when to cry, they're now saying, well, we don't have enough money. We're going to need more money on top of this. And who pays for that? We do. We do. So, what you're talking about is it's really unfortunate what's happening in this country. And I think without question, there's going to be a societal change moving forward. I think a lot of people are going to wake up and start saying, you know what, like maybe this system that we have is not working. Maybe the leadership that we have is not actually serving my best interest. Again, I mean, you go back to 1776 and we went to war with the British over a 1% tax hike. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we want more money on your tea. And the Patriots, the colonists were like, you know what, go fuck yourself, Britain. And we went to war over that shit. Well, here we are now living in one of the greatest countries in the world, doing what it is that we're told to do. And it's actually ruining our country. It's dismantling the system that has provided so many people capitalism. So, I mean, again, I'm going to leave it at that from the political standpoint. I will, however, say from a business standpoint, I think a lot of small businesses are struggling. They're going to continue to struggle. I'm hoping, I hate the word hope, but I'm hoping that this storm ends sooner than later so that people can get back. And I definitely see a massive resurgence in the market in the sense like we're going to want to go out. We're going to want to, like, I love going out to eat. And that's my biggest beef right now is I can't fucking go out to eat. It's driving me insane, right? But I do think that a lot of small businesses especially are going to have to lick their wounds and say, okay, I love my business. I love what I'm doing, but I'm going to need to be prepared for something like this, for a rainy day. And, we live in a very comfortable society, man. We live in a very comfortable world. We're all very comfortable. And this was kind of one of those, like, we ripped the covers off and now you're fucking exposed and everybody's going, oh shit, I'm not prepared. Right. So my hope and anticipation is that we can end this experience quickly so that we can get back to business. We can get back to generating revenue. We can get back to opening up the pizza shops and everything else. And that people can weather those storms. If they get help and bailout, great, whatever. But my anticipation is that a lot of people are going to start looking at themselves and their businesses, their families, their finances differently moving forward. Hopefully, you know what I mean? We're a very, 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 we're a very lazy society. We're a very lazy culture. And I see a lot of people just going right back to the way things were before, not paying any attention, any mind, not preparing themselves, not doing any of the things that I'm talking about, which, at some point in time, they're going to get caught with their pants down again. But I do think that this is very good in the sense that it's waking a lot of people up to becoming self-sufficient and becoming very more independent, ensuring their finances are in order, ensuring their house is in order, emotionally, psychologically, physically, financially. So, to me, that's the silver lining of this is you get in enough pain and all of a sudden it's going to wake you up and you're going to start asking bigger questions. You're going to start doing things differently. So that's kind of my hope. Again, I hate the word hope, but my goal through this is that it wakes people up to actually get control of their fucking life, get control of their bank account, control of their business, get control of their life so that we're not so reliant on other people, number one, but we also are not living in a place of just mystical, magical, nothing bad's ever going to happen.
Yeah. And, there's going to be that space here where there is going to be a group who just does take charge and finally gets out of it. And that's going to be great. And for the small businesses that are in a dire place, maybe it's the time now that they can look at their business and find other points that they quote unquote didn't have time for before, so if you're a restaurant and you didn't have a takeout business before, well, maybe that's a new line that comes in. My one thing is that when we go back at it, I just hope that so many people just aren't playing defense that you start losing, 30% or 40% that won't go out to eat for the next 6, 9, that almost sets the narrative that the business are going to fail because they've ultimately already made the choice that, hey, I just got to make sure, like, I need that clarity for someone to say, okay, it's a perfect time to go back, so I'll go. I don't want to just be the first one out there and get exposed. So, Sean, this has been awesome. If there was one thing to leave with listeners today about really just the future, where you see the future, what would the first thought come to mind?
If I could see the future, man, I'd be we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd be worth a couple $1 trillion and I'd be sitting on an island someplace. But, look, man, no one's coming to save you. Okay. I've shared this before and I'll say it 1,000 times. Like we the people are very, very comfortable. Okay. We've always had mom or dad that could bail us out, or a government that could bail us out. And I think what people really need to understand is, you have to get your house in order. You've heard this 1,000 times. I'm not the first person to say this. I've heard dozens and dozens, hundreds of people say this my entire life. And I've always like, bro, yeah. People are, yeah. It's like life insurance, right? Like it's too late once you're dead. But like when you stop and think about it, like when do we typically as men go get life insurance for our families? I know men that have built businesses that don't have any safety net, and all of a sudden they die of a heart attack or some crazy shit, and their family is like left with, big problems. Mm-hmm. We only typically do that after the fact. And what I'm anticipating and what I would implore people to do is learn that like you're in complete control, man. You've seen now that somebody else is dictating your paycheck. Somebody else is dictating your financial stability. In a lot of cases, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and your job gets cut off, here's the problem. There's no other jobs right now. This is the big fucking aha moment for a lot of people. If you're living paycheck to paycheck and that job cuts you off in this type of situation, no one else is going to hire you. You're fucked. You're fucked. If you don't have a safety net, if you don't have a savings, if you don't have the ability to generate your own revenue, you're fucked. I don't have any more eloquent words to share it with that way. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my anticipation and what I would implore people who are listening to this to do is to ensure that your house is in order, man. So many businesses look at coaching, for example, having a business coach. It's just, it's this luxury. It's this luxury. If you look at every successful athlete, musician, business owner, it's imperative to them to have coaching, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason is because you can't see what you can't see. And there's so many people that are stuck right now. Where do I go? What do I do? Oh, shit. But if you stop and think about it, if you make investing into yourself a priority, it's not a luxury. To me, it's a fucking priority. Like I want my body in the best shape it can be in. So I pay experts who know the body better than me to help me build my body, right? There are people that are way wealthier than me, way smarter than me, that help me with my business. I pay them to help me grow, right? And so many people don't see that. They think that coaching is this luxury and it's just for other people. But when you stop and think about it, man, if you don't know something, if you don't know how to do something, if you don't know how to save, if you don't know how to grow, if you don't know how to expand, find somebody that does and pay them, hire them, join the groups, join a mentorship, join a coaching group, and learn these things, man. Like it's, in my opinion, you're stupider if you don't do that than even contemplating spending that money, right? Like this is the reason that I've continued to implore people and say this over and over and over and over and over again. Like you've got to have a coach. You've got to have people that can help you answer questions that you don't know how to answer. Because at some point in time, this time right now has exposed a lot of people.
Yep.
And so I think the future and where we go and what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of people that are going to go, okay, I don't want that to happen again. What do I have to do? Right. And so I anticipate a really, really, really robust bounce back, if you will, from this. I think that people are going to be connected. There's going to be a lot of fear, a lot of whatever, but we're fucking resilient, man. Mm-hmm. Like just human beings, period. Our culture, our country made it through typhoid and made it through polio and made it through all of these other great pandemics of the world. And here we are having this conversation today, right? We're going to get to the other side of this. The real question is, what are you as an individual going to do differently now? Because you can go back to the way it was and it's the definition of insanity. Banging your head against the wall over and over and over again, trying to get a different result. If you keep doing the things the same way that they've always been done, you're going to keep getting the same result.
Yeah.
So to me, the future is, what do I have to do differently to get different results, better results? If you're not in the shape that you want to be in, invest in your body. If your business is not where you need it to be, your finances are not where you need it to be, fucking find a coach, find a group, learn that shit and execute so that the next time something like this comes around, you're like, no biggie, cool, I get to hang out in my house for a couple of weeks. Awesome, no problem. Oh, I don't have the job, whatever, not a problem. We got money in the bank, we got this, I got other sources of revenue, right?
Listen, if you're not fired up from listening to this today and you're not ready to take action of what you hear and just getting off this and going, we can't help you. So that's just the bottom line, is that this is actionable. I mean, just laid it out. We all need to be punched in the face sometimes. And today you got punched in the face and you got told all the reasons why you can do it and you will do it. So go out there, take action, use what Sean said. Sean's got a great book. I've read it, How to Make Shit Happen. It's awesome. Sean, where else can they connect with you? Where should they find you?
I'm all over. So I'm Facebook, Instagram, Sean Whalen. You go to Lions Not Sheep, see everything that we've got going on with Lions Not Sheep. It's that's one of the things, like in this conversation now, like where you're at in the world, where I'm at in the world, where people are watching this. We live in such a fucking amazing time right now, man, where you can literally build a business. You can make money using this thing right here. You can connect with people. I'll leave you with this too. And this, for a lot of people that are still scratching their, well, it sounds good for you. And this is what most people say. It's easy for you to say. It's easy. I did this exact thing, man. I burned my world to the ground. I went from having a lot to having nothing. And I had to do this exact thing. Like, you can literally Google anything, how to make money, how to sell shit online, how to do this, how to do that. Like my group, the Lion's Den, like, what is it? Looking it up, seeing it, finding it. Like, to prove this point, and I did this live once with people, if you Google how to build a spaceship, like, NASA has blueprints published that are public. Blueprints of how to build a fucking spaceship. Okay? If you're sitting in a place where you're broke and you don't know, that's your own fucking fault. That just means you're lazy. You got a smartphone, but you're doing dummy shit on it. Yeah. Don't do dummy shit on this anymore. Use this to educate yourself. Use this to make money. Use this to get in shape. Use it to connect to the right people, right? If you're being a dummy, that's completely on you, because you got a smartphone that you're using for dummy shit. End of story.
I love it. And the story is right. Sean, thanks so much for coming on the show. This was kick-ass. Thanks, man.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.